Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Below the Surface podcast. Um, Actually, this is the unfiltered version of Below the Surface. It's brand new. It's a little bit different. We don't really have a guest. I do have a co-host
Hey, what's up?
that's going to help me through this process, but a little bit different. It's very unfiltered. Another thing that I realized in the last 2 weeks, guys, was I didn't introduce myself really and who I am, which is pretty funny. We kind of just went straight to talking to guests and never really got on the topic of me. And actually, one of my guests actually brought it up and said that, hey, let somebody interview you. We're not going to quite do that, but I did want to have an episode to explain who I am, why I'm here, and why I'm doing this. And that's the biggest reason today. I did want to introduce Matt Wiggins.
Hey, what's up, man?
Matt's going to help me on these episodes. So normally going forward on these episodes, it's going to be we're going to have questions and answers for you. So it's going to be a more unfiltered question Q&A. So that's why last few days you see me on Facebook, I've been asking for you guys to send me questions so we can go over those throughout the episode. But getting into me a little bit, the biggest reason I did this podcast and the way we have it set up is, people know names, people know businesses, but you only see the outline of things. They only see the wins, the logos, and all the visible stuff. And they don't ever really see what sits underneath all that. And that's the biggest reason I started this podcast, because I'm not a podcaster at all. It's not me. And I don't think people see the pressure, the failures, the long nights, the moments of missing your family, all that good stuff. So that's why I started a podcast, to talk about that and bring on guests that have been through that process so people can actually see what success really is. And that's why the slogan of the podcast is depth over image, because all that stuff underneath really is more important, and it's actually what creates the image of the person. So that's why that's that. But Matt, tell us a little bit about you and why you decided to help me on this.
Yeah, Mark. So, yeah, my name's Matt, local New Bern native here. Bounced around the Carolinas a bit, but always seem to find my way back into New Bern. Uh, yeah, I've known Jared now going on since 2018. It's about 8 years. I think I've always kind of helped you with graphic design stuff,
Mm-hmm.
logo stuff, and business branding. So I've seen you kind of grow the business and what you're about with it. So, yeah, when you asked me to come out and help this one, I was excited to come see it. We had talked about doing the podcast thing kind of a while back, right before you started.
Correct.
So it's fun to finally get to be out here and help out with it.
Yeah, man, and I appreciate it. The podcast has been on my mind for a long time. I was actually on the phone earlier with somebody about that, telling it was actually somebody I was inviting on to become a guest, and he was saying some of the same things I get a lot is, man, I don't like to talk.
Yep.
I don't like to talk in front of people. And the funny thing is, I'm outside of work, I don't like to talk either. I'm pretty quiet, keep to myself and just kind of hang out with my family and fish and not have a lot to say, unless somebody gets me all wounded up. Then I do, but that's it. We can get into that later. But again, thanks for coming on. And I think the reason I got it, the podcast was a idea of mine, I guess, and that's what I was telling the guy earlier was I owe it back to others. Podcasts really helped me, especially when I was in my mid-20s. I really leaned on to podcasts, and that's like when podcasters were like really starting to get popular, but not popular. So like you really want the cool guy to listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. But for what I was doing for a career, I was on the road a lot, so I got tired of the radio, so I just started listening to success podcasts. And one of the first podcasts I listened to, he was talking about how weird he is and how growing up he always thought he was weird. Why he didn't do good in school, or why he didn't like to talk to people very much. And all the way up to my mid-20s, I just thought I was weird instead of different. I never really understood I had something that a lot of successful people do. Um, and not until I listened to those podcasts, I realized that, hey, I wasn't alone. I'm not weird. I actually have something special that I just haven't learned how to twist and angle it right to use it. I didn't use it as ammo. I used it against my own self.
Yeah.
So I just think I owe it to others to be able to be a voice. I've been through some things. I've built some things. So now I just hope that what I talk about and what my guests talk about, help somebody else. And that's one reason I want to bring on guests because two men talking or, man and woman talking, um, about things like that, things can get pretty deep and things can come out when you're just talking to, with yourself on a podcast. I think you can only give it so much out. But sometimes people can bring answers and questions out of you that you normally wouldn't get. So that's why this was built. It's very unfiltered and raw, and we just like to talk about what's going on. So why did you want to help me?
So, like I said, I've known you for a while, and I know you were big into wanting to coach. I think when I first met you, you were actually a trainer over
I
at Gold's
was.
Gym.
Yep.
And so I knew you as a trainer, and then I knew you as a business owner. So watching that grow, and then I knew you as an assistant coach. And so I saw you constantly in these roles where you were trying to like pour in and dump into people, build leaders in the business. So knowing your goal was always to help inspire people and see
Right.
you get that drive
Mhm.
and really get hyped up when it was about talking to people and helping build. So I knew that was something I think you would have been excited about.
Yeah.
Um, and just having you've built up such a brand now where I knew that you
Mhm.
would have that influence
Right.
and have that respect to get people to like pay attention and see what's up.
Right. Yeah. Um, and I don't even, it's funny you say that, people, I have a follower or I'm an influence to people because I don't feel that way at all. I'm just told that. I'm very humble, when it comes to that type of stuff. Because still in the back of my mind, I'm still that weirdo and I still haven't completely figured it all out, That's why this podcast will be a working project because, I haven't figured it all out. I just know I have some purposes that God's put on my heart to do, and I just have to do it. Um, but, I'm really nobody special at all. First off, my name, I'm Jarrett Shepherd. If nobody's caught that yet, but I'm sure you have. Uh, First and foremost, I'm a husband. That's the very first thing. My first priority is my wife. I got two beautiful daughters, um, 8 and 6 years old. So if anybody has two daughters that are that close of age, can understand, where a lot of my stress may come from. I'm a business owner. I'm a builder. I say I'm a builder because I like to, even as a kid, I've always liked to build things. But I really enjoy building businesses and people. That's why I call myself a builder. I'm somebody that believes standards matter over everything. Standard and work. That's what matters. And probably the biggest thing to me is loyalty. Um, Loyalty is probably the most important thing to me, and it should to be everybody. Because without you being loyal and having loyal people around you, then you're not much.
Yeah.
You're not gonna amount to much. Um, and the biggest thing is I think excuses cost people more than they really think it does. Especially leading people. Going through my journey of leading people, because I started leading people when I was still trying to learn how to lead myself. So a lot of it's from error. Most of it's from error. But just seeing other people, it's the excuses that they make that really hinder them because everybody I've been around, they're really built to be something. It's just they've heard excuses and made excuses their whole life, and that's just become a norm.
Yeah.
Um, um, and a lot of great things, in my life, and I know most successful people, one of my beliefs is things are built under pressure. So if you're around me, I strive under pressure, which is really, really weird. It drives my wife crazy because she's a totally opposite. Um, and uh, and I think pressure tells the truth about people. I think that's why it works so well. Um, why it's so important to your success, and why I think I work so well under pressure. Because I think I've put so much pressure on myself my whole life is made exactly who I was supposed to be. And I think people don't do that enough.
Yeah. You did mention, like, you talked about a little bit stress, excuses, and then kind of how you actually thrive with pressure. So, like, what would you say is actually your struggles then, like, personally? Like, what areas do you struggle with, gets you down, like, puts you in a slump or stops you?
Um, I wouldn't say I get in slumps. I'll go through phases of again, I work good under pressure. So that's why I wouldn't say it was a slump to me. Um, I can have moments of disappointment or second guessing. Because when I get in a point to where I feel like something's not working, it's not more of a slump or sadness or aggravation. It's more of a I don't even really know how to put it. It's I get down on myself and start second guessing myself.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't last very long at all. My wife always makes fun of me because I can literally go to bed like the world's ending and wake up tomorrow and be full speed, ready to go. Um, so I'm that type of person that a good night's rest, I can wake up totally fine.
Yeah.
And even in marriage, it's funny because she'll hang on to stuff. I wake up and fine. I don't really remember what even we argued about. And it's a lot, and I think that's what makes successful people really go. It's because everything is short lived. One thing, your struggles and your failures and your complications are short lived, but also, and a lot of people think it might be a bad thing, but your success is short lived. Look at coaches, Nick Saban, all these coaches that have won championship after championship. Um, they celebrate for a few minutes. And then you interviewed Nick Saban after a national championship. He's talking about his recruitment next year. Everything's short lived. So I think that's why I don't get in slumps. And for my struggles, there's a lot of things I struggle with. I guess the biggest thing is carrying things all the way that nobody sees. Um, I don't think, and I think that's probably the hardest thing and the biggest thing I struggle with. Um, for example, payroll. We have over 50 employees, so and I take that personally. I'm responsible of 50 people plus their families. So who knows if you do the math, you know, it's not, 200 people,
Yeah.
probably more likely. And all those people are dependent on you. Because without, I can make one mistake that can literally mess up 250 people's lives. Hopefully not for a very long time, but for a short amount of time, I've caused a problem.
Yeah.
I've caused you maybe to struggle with money, to buy groceries, or most of all, the happiness of their father or their mother. Um, and trying to grow and fix problems every day, on top of trying to lead. I think that's been my biggest struggle over building Pro-Serv was I'm a leader and I'm a builder. And what I really realized, I'm not an operator. I've been able to teach myself how to be an operator and be a good one. But starting out, I was not. I built it. And a lot of that is kind of like we talked with Tim last week is a pastor takes care of his people, a preacher builds. So I'm a preacher. I like to build things, help people, move on, build, help people, move on, build. But what we've done at Pro-Serv was we built something, so big that I got stuck in operations for a very, very long time. So in my opinion, the building and the relationships and stuff, I was missing that. But in reality, I've learned that I was affecting a lot of lives. But in the moment, it was a very big struggle for me. And the second biggest thing, and that's more of my personality, but again, I think it makes successful people is my brain never stops. It never shuts off. So that builds up stress, anxiety. You can have depression moments. So I've been through it all. Um, anxiety, stress, depression, panic attacks. I've done it. Because I again going back to the pressure, I've always just put a lot of pressure on myself way before even Pro-Serv. Um, and now I got all these people. I mean, so the pressure is just. And then when your mind don't shut off, even when you're home, you're tired. I could be fishing on a boat in my happy space and boom, have an anxiety attack
Yeah.
because it's just pressure. Even when you're not even realizing in the moment, it's a lot of pressure. And it just causes a lot of things, a lot of struggles. And sometimes people think strength means you don't feel pressure. And I think that's BS. The truth is, strength usually means you feel like you can't keep moving, but you are going to keep moving. I think that's what strength to me is.
Yeah.
You constantly fall flat on your face and get up. Any successful person, any champion, or anything that you've seen in your life that have been great people, have literally are the people that you literally just can't keep on a mat, and that's it. So I would say those are my struggles and some of the stuff that I go through. But anybody watching or listening, just keep moving. Because that's why I said like I don't have slumps. Um, but my wife might disagree. I might have slumps, but
Yeah.
in my mind, I really don't. I've always just gotten right back up and kept on trucking along. For one, again, that pressure is a bad thing and a good thing. The good thing about the pressure is that's what does keep you moving because I'm very aware of that. I can lose it all in one day. And so if I lose it all in one day, so does everybody else.
Exactly.
So pressure is a positive and negative to me.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite companies I worked for out when I was in Asheville, they always had something going on. Like there was never a period of rest.
Right.
But I love that because there was always like a goal to work toward. Like it just felt like it was constantly moving. Like there was always something next. Like we're ahead of target and we would celebrate that target. But then it's like, cool, how do we like do this better?
Right.
And it was like honestly it was fun. Like you didn't feel like you were stagnant just sitting there just on a mundane repetition. Like
Right.
it was something to work toward.
Exactly right. Um, it's funny that you said that too because we had some meetings today, and I had a meeting with a few techs, and we're constantly growing. So with growth, it's constantly struggle, constantly adapt. Having to adapt. Things change, procedures, all that thing is constantly changing. As soon as you got something down, something new is thrown at you. You got new software or new ways of doing things because you grow and double in customers and you grow employees, like there has to be different processes to things because you add different people. You have more people in the puzzle. So of course you have different, things going over here that used to go over here, now go over here. And so you have to, and I was explaining that to them, like, we're not built for everybody. Um, we're not built for the people that don't like the change, don't like different scenery. Um, that if you want to be stagnant, you like steady, don't come work for me. Don't
Yeah.
come work here. But I think most people do exactly what you said. They like the change and the constant chase of something different and the growth of things because I think that's been one of our successes is being able to keep employees that way is because they do see that part. Even through the pain and struggle, they see that we're constantly growing and we've proven that people grow within us. Because we only promote within. So they've seen these other people get promoted and they know we're not lying. So I think that's one reason that we've been successful is exactly what you talked about. It's just, what you liked about the company in Asheville, we try to do the same as much as we can. I think in Asheville you were with Exploring or a venture company or something, right?
There was that one, but the one I was actually talking about was actually a church out there. And
Okay.
they were a mega church, like 7 campuses. I think since then they've opened up 5 more. So I mean they're doing
Yeah.
well and still popping up out there.
Yeah, and we try to do the same thing. I mean, people want growth. Like I said, we try to make it exciting as we can, but at the end of the day, we do just fix things for a living. So it's not very exciting, but we try to do as much as we can, and that's when we focus it more on the people, building the people. At the end of the day, people care about people around them. I don't care what anybody says or what the news tells you now. People love people. People want to help people, and people want to watch people grow.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of companies miss that.
But I mean, you guys also still expand because every once in a while, I'll see like you guys pop up and you're like, oh, now we have like refrigerator trucks. So, like we can handle more services. Now we're hiring electricians, plumbers. Like you're trying to still grow. Like, hey, here's what we can offer customers and figure out
Correct.
how to increase service.
Right.
So, like, yeah, you can say it's like, oh, we just fix things. But really, it's like we are trying to do a service to a community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is the thing with us. Like I said, we're always trying to grow. Um, and it's to the point now, it's I leave it up to my employees on how far they want to take this. Because it's so far past me anymore that I could want to grow it as much as I want to. If they're not on board, then I'm just chasing my tail. So we have constant meetings with, leadership on how far they want to take this. And they just know I have their back. Um, and I listen to their ideas. And they kind of, they're driving a ship. I'm just a captain of it,
Yeah.
so, but I think what you were saying, I think that's my opinion about it is just you have to grow,
Mhm.
you know, especially when you get to the point of business that we're at right now is you're not a startup, you're not new, you have a name, people are chasing you, people see you, people want what you have, and people will try to take it. That's what people don't realize. So if you're not constantly out working them, out thinking them, outperforming them, um, they will catch you. And so that's what I express to my team. And, I treat my team like I treat myself because I need many versions of myself everywhere. And then I need smarter versions of Jared in places. And I think that's where we're at right now is I have people smarter than me and I have a lot of mini me's that they kind of taking what I have in my dream and running with it, which makes it easier.
Yeah. And to kind of circle back, you talked about you have all that, like all your team that you're like collecting, you have like all these ideas. And so you go home and your brain is just like constantly
Mhm.
firing. So how do you have that moment like, okay, like disconnect, focus on family, focus on like personal health, like not be stressed out. So
Yeah. I
what's
don't.
disconnect look
I
like?
don't. Um, that's and that's what I encourage the guests that come on here too is to be real and honest, and that's a weakness. I don't. I love to fish. Anybody knows me knows that's my outlet, and I can thank my wife for that. Um, I think we're about 6 years in a business, and she's like, "You have to find something else to do. Put it all away for a couple hours and find something to do because you won't survive it." And people think that's a joke, or that's being, that's not the truth about when it comes to running a business or having a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, if you don't find an outlet, you won't be here very long. That's the truth. I've seen many people, have depression and take their own life that were business owners, because just they never took the time to have that outlet. Um, so I really don't unwind because I literally just told you while I'm fishing I can have an anxiety attack. So even when I try, it's not unwind. But my biggest struggle is trying to find balance because you have to find balance for yourself, which is number one. Which that's been my last thing for years is me. So I'm trying to slowly remind myself that I have to take care of me first. And if not, then nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Then it's my family. And then it's the business, and I have to take care of all that every day. So you constantly feel like you have a foot here, foot there, foot here. So that's been probably my biggest struggle when it comes to business and not being able to unwind is I never feel like I'm doing the right thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
If I'm on the boat, I feel like I should be home or at work. If I'm at home, I feel like I should be working. If I'm at work, feel like I should be home. So you constantly have guilt, because you're needed so many places. So I'm trying to understand and teach myself that it's not about the quantity, it's the quality of time and everywhere that you are. And that 3 hours here of straight attention, even with my employees, you know, before I moved into this office, I was on site all day, every day, but I was probably never present. Now I go to the office once a week, but they get my whole attention for 6 hours. So they get more of me actually.
Yeah.
Same thing with my family. If I give them a whole Saturday and they only see me here and there throughout the week, but they got a full 12 hours of me, then that's more than most people are given on a whole 7-day schedule.
Yeah. It's also just more structured because you can say, like, I'm allotting myself this period to
Correct.
give, like, to focus on you because I have this, like, many other things that also need it.
Correct. And it's small things, you know. Actually, Maria noticed in the last time we went to eat, I didn't have my phone. She's like, "Did you leave your phone in the car on purpose?" Yes.
Yeah.
Because if not, I know what I'm going to do. Because there's work on here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read emails because my brain don't shut off from that. It's not a purpose thing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody,
No.
but
I've
it,
worked out with you in the mornings when your phone, like, rings 30 times
yeah,
in, like, 1 hour.
yeah. And I got to the point now. I go to the gym. I have to turn my phone off because I don't work that way. To me, business is important. So if I get a phone call in the middle of a gym session, I'm probably going to leave and go take care of work.
Yeah.
But I've learned that that's not how it should be. Me comes first. Because I realize, if I don't have my time, and I don't work out, I don't feel good, I don't do something to relieve some stress, I'm no good to nobody.
Yeah.
I'm just a tied up, wound up ball ready to explode. So, yeah.
No, I mean, when I did the outdoor adventure stuff, that was something we always had to talk to our participants and people
Mhm.
about is you have to worry about you first. Like, you're no good to the group if you are struggling. And
Right.
also, like, the type of outdoor growth we were doing was therapeutic to, like, help people improve. And so they had to be a little selfish. They had to, like, hey, like, advocate for myself and say, I need this. I need to focus on this. I can't worry about anything else right now. Like, that's step one. That's a good thing.
Right.
Like, selfish has this weird context of it's a bad thing, but if it's something you struggle with, of like, I always give more of myself away to
Right.
people, it's okay.
Well, here's the biggest kicker that people don't realize about that is if you don't learn to be selfish, you start to resent people.
Yeah.
And people don't notice that. It takes a long time to even notice it when you're doing it, because in your mind, you're constantly pouring into others. And then in reality, you feel like, okay, I'm not getting nothing back because you're not even giving it to yourself. So you're like literally on zero. So in reality, it's not somebody else's job to fill your cup.
Mm.
You fill your cup, but once it's empty, you start looking to the outside source to fill it up, and now you're pissed because nobody's giving back.
Yep.
But we forget why we do give. It's got nothing to do with giving back. To me, I don't need anything. But when you are an empty, you seem to start resenting people, because they're not pouring back into you.
Yeah. And I know you probably struggle with this too. I know I'm a yes man. Like, I love to try to help people. People will come to me all the times with like, I need help with this. Can you do this for me? And I think it's a, I don't know, raised Southern hospitality thing. It's like, yeah, like, I can help you out. Like, that's fine. Like,
Right.
I'll give you this. And like, a little bit's good, but when you start having multiple people and you're just like, I'm getting stretched thin. And like, I hate every one of y'all for like coming to me. But it's like, I'm the one that did it. I'm the one that said, yeah.
Correct. Can people see Dallas?
Dallas is like racked out, right?
So if you hear snoring, that is Dallas. Um, she is, not a very good, co-host. She is passed out. She is a 15-week King Corso, that we just recently got, but she goes with me everywhere. So I just wanted to bring that up because I'm sure you're hearing snoring, and that is Dallas. But yeah, I'm a yes man too. I try to work on it and get better, but it's definitely a struggle. Again, I think that's a lot of I put pressure on myself. Like I just said, I never I feel like I have to be here, 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 and here because again, that's just saying yes, 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 yes. And never shutting one thing off, saying no. You can wait.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a lot better at that, and that's actually made me be a better leader over the last, let's say, few months. That finally clicked with me to start saying no, limit your time, structure your time, give people limited access to you. I've been able to teach people up under me and my leaders to do the same, and I'm starting to see them get better and better and better. So I just hope it don't take them as long as it took me to realize that it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
You know,
No, especially for like setting expectations. Like if you're just yes the entire time and then somebody's like, you didn't do this, it's like, I didn't have time to do it.
right?
I would have liked to have known no,
Correct.
so I wasn't expecting it.
Correct. Communication.
That's it.
If we want to go back to something that bugs me, that's probably number one. I don't really. That's about the only thing I get upset about. Even in my relationships, it's with my employees. I'll never get mad at you if something didn't get done and you told me it wasn't going to get done. But if you knew it was expected to get done and then you just go home when it's not done and I catch it later, that's a problem. But if you would simply just send an email, say, hey, I got behind today. It's my first task tomorrow morning. I'll get it done. We're good. So communication is everything. And in business, it's not just with customers. Everybody knows that's big with customers. Everybody tries to come up with the best new thing to communicate better with customers all the time. But the biggest thing I think businesses make is internal communication. They just focus so much on the outside, but they don't even know how to talk with each other inside. So nothing is really getting done or getting handled correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, communication
A big one for sure.
for sure. It's yeah. You want to piss Jared off? Do that one.
Yeah, just don't talk. Just,
Yeah. I don't, because I'm big on everything. If I call you, I email you right behind it. There, I teach my employees that too. There's a paper trail. Communicate in multiple different ways. If you call somebody, they don't answer, text them. There's proof. And that'll get you out of a lot of trouble in business and in your relationships.
Oh yeah.
You know, even with your wife, if you didn't call me, yeah, I did. Texted you too. You see it? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know,
No, a big thing I've learned, I mean, I learned this, from every single job, yours included, and where I'm even at now is the worst thing I think people have to do is like they have to ask, what are you doing? Like, hey, where's this? Like, I should just be able to communicate. This is what I'm working on. This is where I'm at. This is where you'll find me. That way, nobody else has to like come track me down. And I find I now even get resentful when I have to do that for like other services I'm looking for.
correct.
If I've like ordered something and like I haven't heard an update, it's like, okay, where's this thing I got? Like, why am I not hearing why it's late? Like, just talk to me. That's all I need. I
Right.
shouldn't have to seek out information.
Right. One of the biggest things we teach at work is that I try to get through their heads is if a customer calls us, it's not a good thing. For one thing, we don't sell a happy service.
No. You're in the
Something's broke.
service that something's broken, you're about to spend money.
A lot of money. That's all. Yes, they can love us all day and like us, but when they see the Pro-Serv logo, they see dollar signs.
Yeah.
It's not. They don't see happy faces. And this is not a boat ride or a fishing trip. This is you're about to spend money on something you don't want to spend money on. So when they call us, it's not a good thing. So either they're calling us because something broke, they're not happy, and then anything outside of that, the reason they're calling you is probably more they're looking for an update, and that's not good either because they're already upset that you're involved anyways. This is dollar signs.
Yeah.
Now they're upset because you're not communicating the next steps, and they're wondering why their cooler is still down. So we're very strict at work about that. Like, I tell people you can't over communicate. So we're very strict about it. Like it's part ETA. Part gets in, it's here. This is when it's scheduled. It's on back order. The biggest problem in our industry is like these restaurants and these our customers have multiple managers. So we can really be 100 at communicating, but the managers didn't communicate. So we called and talked to Sarah and let her know the part ETA, but Nikki comes in on Monday morning. Sarah didn't tell Nikki. So Nikki calls Pro-Serv when her part's at.
Yep.
So the end of the day, but again, that's why it's important we noted in our system that, hey, we spoke and talked to Sarah yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, so long as we know we're 100, we're good, and then we can, let Nikki know, hey, I did call, So yeah, communication is everything, like you said. I mean, I'm the worst customer that anybody could ever have
Because you
because
normally offer the best customer
yeah, I know
service.
what to expect. Like, don't not answer my phone calls. Like, if I've spent a lot of money with you and you've given me your personal number, call me back
Yeah.
within the same day. Um, because I don't turn mine off. I might not answer you all immediately, but if I know you're important to me and my business, I want to answer the phone. So that's number one. And number two is just horrible customer service over the phone when you're trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
Trying to schedule things, updates. Like I tell Maria all the time, is like I don't know how people stay in business because I know how hard it is for me to stay in business and what my customers expect of me. How the hell do these people get away with it? I can't figure it out. And that's why people tell me because like sometimes I go look at my company and say, "Man, we're horrible. Like God, we got to get so much better." And then like you call another company for yourself, you're like, "I'm not as bad as I think I am."
No.
So, and that's the goal.
You'll hear that too. You'll get the guy that's like tired of you or gets mad at something and he'll leave until he goes somebody for a couple months and then they immediately come back and they
For,
realize how bad some of the other places actually
oh,
operate.
for sure. I've had customers fire me for 6 months, a year, and then they come right back.
Mhm.
Because people always think it's green on the other side. Um, and it's good for you to realize that too as a business owner, or if you're working inside of a company, is the goal is not to be like for me and what I had to realize. I always try to be like the absolute best version of myself every day, which that should be the goal. But it's almost impossible. You know, at the end of the day, long as we're doing enough when we close out our day, is were we better than our competition?
Mhm.
You've done enough. Because if you're trying to compete with yourself on a daily basis, you're never going to stop working. Because like that's an endless step. You mark something off and then it's next. You mark it off and it's next. So it's when do you shut it off if you're constantly just chasing yourself? So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And then another big thing that you've kind of talked about too is the loyalty aspect, like making sure like you were loyal to these customers, but also making sure they're loyal back for you.
yeah, yes, I'm big on that. People have actually had really big eyes around me when they see me work. Because I have fired customers. I've fired very a lot of revenue generated customers, because the loyalty wasn't there. Because when I bring you on as a customer, you get my all, you get my team's all. So if I feel like you're not being loyal to me in return, I don't really want to do business with you. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially any business starting off, is realizing that not every customer is a good customer, no matter what. They can be your most revenue generated customer and the most profitable customer that you have, but look at it on a personal standpoint. How much emotionally do they drain your team? How emotionally do they drain you at the end of the day? And if you remove that, how much freer would you be and how much more business could you go get?
Exactly.
I proved that to me and my team. So that's why like we don't really chase business. We let customers come to us. And the whole nother side of that is you have standards inside of your company that your employees you should live by and believe, but your customers should believe the same thing. Your customers should be aligned with your values and standards just like your employees are.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you know, people drive by and they see a Pro-Serv truck. They should see it at like a respected place, not something
right.
that's like, oh, they're there.
Correct.
Like, what are they doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes a long time to get that. It takes a lot of punches to the face, and a lot of people don't understand what all it does take to get to that point to be at that respected point. But also, when you're that respected, you're hated by a lot of people too.
There's always that part.
That comes with that, and that's another thing people do not get. Is they try to please and be liked by everybody.
Doesn't ever happen.
No, if you're a successful leader in anything, you don't have many people in your circle.
Yeah.
For one, you left everybody behind going through your growth, um, because you outgrew those people, and then you didn't have time to meet any new ones. So, and then when you start to get time, a lot of people have just taken you wrong over the years, and they just don't want to be around you, or they just take you the wrong way. But then it starts to turn a little bit because people start to open up and realize what your whole intentions were was to make their life better. But then you also start getting around like-minded people, which you start building a different circle. So, but through those first 15 years or so, I'm gonna say it's gonna be very lonely and long nights and not a lot of friends and probably not a lot of people that like you very much.
Yeah. You said the first few years. So what's the first few years of Pro-Serv like? Because when it started, it was just you and Maria, like you working out of your garage, right?
Correct. I work for a company out of Wilmington. Actually, our oldest was only 6 months old. Me and Maria were only married for a year and 6 months. Just bought a house together. Um, and me and her, Maria knew who she married, and I give Maria so much credit when it comes to that, and I give so much advice to young men when it comes to that when they're looking for a spouse. Is you better find a woman that understands you completely and believes in you. Because us men are crazy, and we're gonna follow and chase some crazy things. And if you don't understand that about your husband, then it's gonna be rough. So I give her a lot of credit because she always understand what I was about and what kind of was going on up here, even though she's completely different than me. She kind of understands what's going on and what's churning. So she knew that I wanted to own my own business. But she kind of really didn't know the timing of what's going to happen. So, um, I called her and just said, "Hey, I'm about to quit my job." And she just said, "Okay." And we went and bought a truck, bought some tools, and we actually started off by doing residential HVAC through a home warranty company. Um, Home warranty is free leads, pretty much. You don't have to really build a company because they just send you the leads, you go repair it. Um, so we made some quick, easy money for 2 months. I wouldn't say easy because I had to climb attics and crawl spaces and stuff. So it wasn't easy, but it was a quick buck.
Yeah.
That gave us enough money to buy a bigger van, more tools, and give us enough pay for a few months to live off of. And then I'm an old school marketing type of guy. That's how we still build our business is we just knock doors. We do some social media stuff and stuff like that, but most of ours is salespeople knocking doors. And that's because that's how I started. So I just started knocking doors from here to Wilmington to Raleigh, Greenville, Rocky Mount, and I built up a good customer base, um, and got lucky enough to hire, two good young Marines. Didn't know, anything. Um, but they rode with me, taught them. We literally would work 24-hour shifts. One of them still works here today, and we joke about it. People think we're lying, like we work 48 hours straight and never go home. Um, but that's kind of what the first few years looked at was. I had a 6-month-old at home. Probably never really saw her again until she was 2.5. To be honest with you, but at the same time, Maria got pregnant again, and that's probably about the only. I remember within those first 3 years, I can vividly remember having 2 days off. One was when my youngest was born. I literally stayed at the hospital for a day, and I got so sick that I passed out at a Texas Roadhouse from pneumonia and the flu, and I had to be off the next day. Uh, so that's what the first few years of what Pro-Serv looked like. And that started in our garage, and within the second year, we had an office in Maysville, and within the third year, we had our first office in New Bern. So, and we went from just me working to, I want to say 6 employees, with those first 3 years. Um, lot of lessons learned, but the reality, that was probably one of the funnest and most exciting times of my life. Because that's just how I'm built. I like to just grind and just grow, grow, grow. For one thing is I got a crazy brain up here, so when I'm that busy, I don't got time to think.
Yep.
I get in trouble when I think. So that was a lot of fun for me those days, and and really since then it's been a real big struggle because every year I have to find a new version of Jared, um, and really reinvent my whole life because my whole life changes. Like right now, I've been able to fully move into a CEO role, um, and I feel like, what do I do? There's a lot to do, but I just have to structure and figure out exactly what my daily task looks like now. And it's been like that so many times because I went from being a service technician to a dispatcher to a parts person to the GM or the salesperson. So I've literally been every position in a company. So over the last 9 years, that's been a real struggle with me because we talked earlier about being like, understanding ourselves and being stable and stuff like that, and get in slumps and stuff. I haven't really been able to because it's been so like straight up.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the first few years of Pro-Serv.
There you go. No, that's kind of circles back to what we talked about with that. Like the business was never stagnant. Like the first 2 years, you said it was most fun. It's because it was most changing. Like there's always something you were working
Correct.
forward to. And so, how does it feel now? That's like you said you're moving more into this role. Has it been like a weird?
Yeah, I mean the last 2 years have been really weird. It's been a lot of growth, but growth is different now. It's not as fast. Um, it's crazy. Like it's bigger increments, like a revenue and stuff like that. Um, but it's slower on the excitement side of things because like you really don't notice too much going on.
Yeah.
Um, because you're such in the back part of it that you're just, I mean, 20, you can get 20 new customers a day and I won't know about it, so there's no excitement to me. I'm not the
Yeah.
one doing it. So that's where I'm at now. I'm trying to enjoy it. And I think in a phase I'm at right now is I've been able to build a team that I can lean on. Um, I'm kind of using it as more of I'm still working, of course, but really just a break. I went fishing twice last week. I'm going fishing twice this week. And I'm going to do just that for a while until I really gain back all my energy because I'll be honest with that, I got pretty drained out. Um, and and God kind of forced me into where I'm at right now with my stress and my anxiety, um, stuff that I was going through, that turned into physical stuff. God forced me into that, and that's another thing I'm going to tell people. Like, you can avoid that stuff all day. You can think you're the toughest person in the world because that's me. Like mentally, I'm good. You can put as much stress on me as you want to. I'm going to keep going and keep grinding, but he will put something in your past that will literally stop you and force you. So all you're doing by keep pushing is really just ignoring him. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I've had to learn. It's been hard, because I'm still recovering from it all.
Mhm.
But people need to really realize that, and that's probably the biggest thing people are going to hear in this podcast is the total opposite. Because today's time, what you hear on social media is grind 24/7, work, 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 work. If you're going to be successful, it's BS.
Yeah.
It's BS. The guy behind me, Andy Frisilla, that's really what got me started on podcasts. And one thing that he does is he has a 5 task list thing. He calls it the power list. You literally write down your most 5 critical tasks throughout the day, and that's what you do. You still have like your little duties here and there that come in like meetings and
Yeah.
stuff. But as long as you knock out those 5 critical tasks that moves the needle forward, whatever it is, send 10 emails a day, call 3 big customers a day, whatever that is, that stuff moves the needle forward. That gets you a percent better every day. And 1% a day is what? It's a lot of percentage at the end of the year.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people would just swing for the fences. And what's the best baseball player? It's RBIs. You know, those guys are the one winning championships.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, I don't even think like Barry Bonds and them even have a World Series championship. They just hit home runs. So, Yeah, that's where things are right now in my life, with my business life and personal because, my business life is my personal life.
Exactly. It all just bleeds in.
Yes.
Nice, buddy. And then you actually have the fishing side now going on too. You're trying to get the tournament and charity events going, right?
Yes, the Pro-Serv, Carolina Trout Masters, I started doing tournaments 2 years ago, under the, News River Fishers of Men with Brian Saunders, which is a guest coming up. I'm excited about that, but, I started doing tournaments with him 2 years ago. We sponsor him. Um, just really caught my interest in the good that they do for the community. Um, at the end of the day, that's why we created Pro-Serv. Pro-Serv is our ministry. We wanna grow people and give people good lives, so as God's allowed us to be successful, we like to give a lot and do a lot of charities and stuff like that. So, and that's a lot of Maria's world. She does most of that, but I wanted to do something too in my own way. And I like to fish. So, and I kind of saw what Brian Saunders was doing. And I was like, that's a really good way to raise money for people. And to get, you know, a charity that you support out there and noticed. And also in how we're doing our tournament is a big marketing for businesses, which I wanted that to be a different part of it. Because most stuff that you do, like you sponsor, they'll put your sticker on something. Do you really get anything out of it? No. But how we're doing our series, or it's not a series, our 2-day tournament, it's going to be live. And it's going to be like short commercials, stuff like that. Um, it's going to be a live event. We're going to blast your business through our social media, through the live event. So it's two aspects of that. It's giving back to our charities, our community, but also giving back to our sponsors and allowing people to start a business. But um, it's just another crazy thing that decided I wanted to start to do, Matt. But I do have a lot of passion behind it, and I've been very blessed. They have Brian Saunders, Tim Eskew that owns ECIC that we had a podcast with last week. Um, they have local tournaments, very successful tournaments, and I have their full support. But when I started this, it was not to compete with them, anyways. It was something that I wanted to be an addition to. That's why I called it the Trout Masters.
Yeah.
It's let's figure out who the real true trout master is. Let's get the people from these other tournaments to do this 2-day event to see who the real champion is. So that's the whole purpose of it. And I've been blessed to have their support and understanding. Like Tim said, like the more people we can get together like us to help people, that's great. So why not help each other? But it has been a blessing to have their support because the world we live in today is very rare. Because a lot of people just look at it as competition, and your intentions was never to be that. Competition or what? I'm not making any money off of it. It's not competitive for me like that. You know, he can help certain people. Brian can help a certain group of people. I have reached to a different type of people. So now we're helping 3 different types of communities, 3 different types of people. So why not, have more, people out there doing the same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So that's where that at, and that's November 7th and 8th. It's gonna be at the Vandermeer boat ramp. Um, there's a remote blast off aspect of it too. To where we have 4 other boat ramps that we'll have a team member at, that you can launch there. So that gives a really big competitive edge, because fishermen can kind of fish where they want to fish. So
Sweet.
I think Dallas is getting a little uncomfortable over there.
Checking out.
Yep. You good over there? Yep.
Yep.
And guys, please subscribe to us on YouTube, Depth Over Image. Please hit that subscribe button. If this podcast gives you any kind of idea, helps you in any kind of way in your success or just your life, please hit subscribe to be able to follow our content. We're on Instagram, Depth Over Image also, and also on Facebook, below the surface. So please give us a follow. Your support means everything. We don't got nobody supporting this podcast. Jared and himself supports this podcast. So um, your help matters. And like I said, I mean, the more that we can get the views up, the more this is been able to be seen by more people. And hopefully, like I said before, a podcast and a person from a podcast really shaped my life. So I hope I can be the same. So please hit that subscribe button. Got anything else for me, brother?
I don't think I do, buddy. I think that's it.
Cool deal, man. And I did want to say, talk a little bit more about family side of things. Because that's probably my biggest struggle. And what I mean by struggle with that is, I mean, my family is everything. But when you're building a business or building anything, it can start looking like to them that it's not your most important thing. So I encourage anybody that's in that season to really take a look in the mirror and kind of look at where your time is spent and when you're spending your time. And like I said, it's quality over quantity. And if that's, it's the biggest advice I want to preach, and you'll hear me say it over and over and over and over again, that we need to remember that quality part of it. Because just because you're home every day at 5 o'clock, but if you're not spending time with your family, why does it matter? Because I used to be that naive. I would say, well, I'm home, but I would be home working. I might as well have stayed right here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they just see me.
Yeah, I'm still here, but I'm just, I got a laptop in front of me and I'm not looking at anything.
Right. So, but just to close this podcast is I really want to hone on to that, a little tidbit, how to survive the below the surface stuff, is that you have to learn how to be okay with being okay. There's times to chase greatness. There's times to be the alpha, but there's also times to just be okay and be the sweet little guy that you let your daughter put makeup on. There's different times and seasons in lives, and that's the biggest thing that people need to realize. But going forward, guys, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, this is unfiltered. Moving forward, we will have questions from followers. So please, you can put in your question in our YouTube comments. You can go on Instagram, send us a message. You can go on Facebook, send us a message. So please, 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 please send in questions because we want to hear stuff from you. I don't want to talk about me. I didn't create this podcast to talk about me. We want to hear what you guys got going on in your life. And I don't know if we have the answers, probably not, but we will try our hardest to be able to answer your question, and help out any way you can. Um, and if you take anything out of this podcast today, the biggest thing I hope you guys can take is what shapes most people usually happens when nobody is looking. That's what is shaping you. So again, what that's saying is, the strongest battles most people fight, they never make a post about, they never share. You're never seeing that real person. I think social media has made it so horrible when it comes to people influencing others and what people are looking up to. Um, Especially mothers. I notice that a lot because like you can get on Instagram, you can watch what my wife is watching. Is like these moms and stuff, they just constantly go on these trips and play crafts with their kids and play Legos with them. Well, they probably did it for 5 minutes for video. You don't know what happened when the camera went off. So don't judge yourself to those people that you're seeing. Try to listen to people that are telling the truth. They got nothing to hide, and they're also sharing the struggles with their wins. If you're following somebody and it's nothing but win, 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 happy, 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 happy,
Really second guess it.
probably second guess who you're following. And that's why a lot of you guys, if you follow me personally, I post real stuff. I like, I wear my feelings on my shoulder. But that's real. I get a lot of messages every day saying thank you for saying that because it's something I wanted to say. but that's why this podcast exists, is you give that outlet to people. Next week I want your questions. And please stay tuned for all of the live guests that we have coming up. That's every Wednesday at 8 a.m. If for some reason we cannot make it on that Wednesday, we will give everybody a heads up. But thanks for listening, and I will see you guys soon.